全く新しいものとしても楽しめるっていうようなちょっとある種不思議な作品になっていると思います。
So in terms of World of Final Fantasy, we definitely did keep in mind the good old Final Fantasy, but at the same time we wanted this to be a new game. So the concept has two ends to it, one being a message to the fans of Final Fantasy, but we also wanted to introduce Final Fantasy to people who have never played this series before. So it's a good mix of both. We have your nostalgic elements, but as well as the new elements as well. It's a very interesting and almost peculiar sort of experience. So it's a very varied sort of situation. Let's go into like the battle first. The gameplay does play tribute to the good old days of the former Final Fantasy titles, and people may recognize the active time battle system. That's definitely one of the major elements that are recognizable in the battle system. And we wanted to sort of keep that sort of nostalgic feel, but at the same time we also wanted to blend something new into the elements. So there are different like customizable elements within the battle system that will provide you that sort of new feeling as well. And in terms of the story portion, of course we wanted people who've never played the Final Fantasy franchise to also get to know these characters and to understand what the realm is like. So you play as these protagonists. They're twin brother and sister, Lan and Rain, who have amnesia, so they don't have a memory. So they encounter these characters from the previous Final Fantasy games as they're sort of these residents of the realm called Grimoire. So it's like a natural encounter. You get to talk with the characters and sort of find out who they are through the eyes of characters that don't know anything about these legendary characters from the previous Final Fantasy games. But of course, for the people who do recognize these previous Final Fantasy games and the characters, of course, I'm sure it'll bring a smile to their face to see these characters in this situation. It's a good. So in terms of the size of these characters, our protagonist, Rain and Lan, start out in what's called Ninewood Hills. That's sort of like their hometown in their sort of normal size. And then they go into the world of Grimoire, where all of the characters are sort of in their chibi style. So as our protagonists travel to the world of Grimoire, they are able to shrink down to what we call the Lillikin size. So they're all the same size as the different characters, but at the same time, they can also switch back to their normal size, or what the Grimoire people would call giant size. So they can switch freely, even while they're traveling through the field. They can the players can choose to be small or large. This also affects into the gameplay system, and especially in battle, where you have your different monsters that you have in your party. So if your protagonists are in their Lillikin form, they can ride on top of the larger mirage or monsters, or they can go back to their giant or normal size to stack little monsters on top of their head. And depending on the combination of the different monsters and what size the player is, there are different abilities that you are able to use, or sometimes the parameters or the stats differ between the different mirages that you equip. So definitely yes on all accounts. In terms of having extra things to do, including subquests and like challenging sort of elements after you have finished the main story of the game. Our main story, of course, progressed just like your typical Final Fantasy. You have your protagonist, Rain and Lan, and you sort of go through this adventure of those two protagonists. But you do encounter the different Final Fantasy legend characters, and we have made available different sort of sub-quests or sub-stories of these individual characters if you would wish to go on a sort of side mission to see what the background of these different Final Fantasy characters are like. Also, we do have a world map available, just like your good old Final Fantasy days, so you can always revisit places and come back to different areas that you have explored before, and so that's an element as well. And of course, I'm afraid we can't expose too much detail at this point, but there is definitely a sort of replayability for after you have finished the main story of the game, and you can come back and play again as well. In terms of characters from 15, I'm afraid we don't have any plans for them to appear in the main part of the game, but that's because 15 hasn't come out yet, and we would love for the players to sort of experience and enjoy the characters and get to know the characters of 15 while they're playing 15. And we don't want to confuse people by having like a different sort of depiction of them in the chibi form. So, of course, that being said, if there is a very great demand, if everybody is calling for, we want to see Noctis in World of Final Fantasy, we might have to reconsider. So I think it all depends on what the fans sort of, how they voice their opinion on that.
What a nap.
As far as I can tell, you two have lost everything. All the memories and experience you've ever accumulated.
These gents here have business in the low seas.
Who are they?
The giants from the hills.
Ah!
Who made all this smoke?
A talking weird thing!
Then what if it's a mirage?
How incredibly rude. I'm just as human as you.
That wouldn't even be the tip of the iceberg. Oh no.
Hey now, that is certainly no way for us to treat a lady.
The whole catch about joining the Federation is that you're asked to become an architect.
Me? I'm with Seed, a mercenary group in the League of S. We fight against the Federation.
Good. That's more like it. So where does this prophecy factor in? When time begins its march anew, they shall return as visitors. Giants from the hills of a world not our own. Upon Grimoire, they will wreak two divergent futures. One that brings salvation, and the other ruin. An enigma to confound even the highest mind.
The way you use mirages. Only Lusfarna ever held such power over them. What's happening now?
The keys.
There are 4. Earth, fire, water, and shadow, if I remember correctly.
You are a fool to let a medium to champion a fire!
This is it. Home base for the League of S.
Balam Garden.
It has to be destiny!
Who are you? Lon! Shriek now!
Holy mom bombs!
Lady Yuna!
You leave her to me! Hey, wait up!
So, basically, we've put Grimoire and other worlds in terrible danger.
Lusfarna. If you wish to find her, you must brave the Crystal Tower.
Then our mom's up there somewhere?
Time for us has resumed its march.
This place, I know I remember it.
And you? You aren't going to waver?
We have a prophecy to fulfill.